Greetings and welcome to Kaizen Revenue and Profit Acceleration Strategies for CPAs and their business clients to avoid market extinction. My name is Ike Ikoku, and I'd like to share a little bit about who I am with you as your presenter for the day. So, while I could go on about how I'm a success and mindset coach, as well as a business growth strategist to other coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. While I could go on about how I've been a best selling author, a mentor coach to others, how I've been a part of the John Maxwell team of certified coaches, speakers, and trainers, holding numerous coaching certifications, as well as having held multiple professional licenses, like my CPA license, over the past 25 years in my profession. While all of that is well and good, and is oftentimes the kind of credentials people want to hear about the speaker who has their attention now, I believe the most important bullet point on this slide is the fact that I'm a father of three beautiful children, ages 14, 11, and 6. I'm a husband, and I've been married 24 years now to the most beautiful, kind, and generous person I know, and that I'm a lover of life and of Christ. As a matter of fact, when it comes to loving life, here are a few pictures of me and my family simply doing so. Starting at the top row, there's a picture of my wife and I at a 70s party with our afro wigs and bell-bottom pants, which you can't see on the slide. Next is a picture of me and several brothers in Christ at a mission trip in Nicaragua. The next one is a selfie of me while the wife and I are getting ready to head out on a date. At the bottom, you've got a picture of the three kids and myself in a banana boat at our annual family camp vacation. Then there's a picture of us at the top of a mountain. Next is a picture of Emma and I enjoying some sun at the beach. And lastly is both my spouse and I enjoying a cooking class with a chef as part of our birthday celebrations. Now, as your speaker and presenter today, I think it's important to share with you why you should pay attention, why you should actually listen to me. Out of all the labels and titles I have, one of my best ones is the fact that I'm the Chief Entrepreneurial Dream Reviver at the Coachinaire Institute and at my morebizgrowth.com brands. If I take a look at the time that I've been around, and if I were to walk you through my life's journey, you'll see that I've overcome many adversities. And the fact that I'm even still alive today is nothing short of a miracle. To be totally honest, I believe that there are many people who've checked out of life for a whole lot less pain and adversity as I have faced. Twice I have made and lost 7 figures, and this has happened over the past 20 years. I'm on my 3rd run of doing so, but this time I really have my eyes set on generating 8 and 9 figures. Now, I'm only in my mid-40s, so I figure that I've got time on my side. And this time, in my pursuit of this measure of wealth that I'm after, it's really to help advance part of my purpose and my why, which is to help end hopelessness by raising 7-figure mentors who will use business coaching as a vehicle to mentor, to coach, and to serve an underrepresented segment of society. That is small business owners doing under 3 million in revenues, who, quite frankly, internalize their feelings of hopelessness, which then oftentimes will manifest as workaholic tendencies and other addictive cycles and patterns that are destructive to their well-being as well as to their relationships. Now, as an entrepreneur myself, I have seen these patterns and cycles show up in my life time and time again. Knowing the negative impact that hopelessness has had in my life, I want to do my part in helping end it, and also seeing the ripple effect that it has on the quality of life and relationships that people get to experience. You know, I have started and owned several 6-figure and 7-figure businesses over the past 2 decades. And, you know, between suffering business betrayals that cost me over 7 figures, having to defend myself in a lawsuit by the SEC when investment advisory clients of mine and myself all fell victim to a Ponzi type scheme, having my business shut down, having to start over from scratch, suffering reputational damage as a consequence of the actions of others. Let's just say that I've accumulated a lot of wisdom from my seasons of adversity as an entrepreneur. So while I have no shortage of advanced college degrees, professional licenses, and certifications, it's my PhD in what I would call the business school of hard knocks that's likely one of the most important reasons why you should listen to me today. Not only have I had my fair share of failures over the years, I've had plenty of successes, and I've been fortunate to have helped many people along the way as well in their journey of life. The first thing we'll talk about today is how you can save your firm from extinction. Some of you have been in this industry longer than I have, so you have seen infinitely more changes than I have within this industry. Over the next decade, there will be significantly more changes, and how you respond to those changes will in a large part determine whether or not having a sign in your window that says open for business means that you'll actually be getting any business to speak of. Next, we'll talk about what your clients really want from you as their CPA and how to ensure that you give them exactly what they want. We'll also talk about ways that you can boost client loyalty within your firm. How about making your firm more profitable? Is there anyone who's interested in doing that? How about making your clients refer more business to you? Wouldn't that be a nice treat? And lastly, we'll talk about some of the measures that we take in helping CPAs and their clients avoid market extinction. So, quite frankly, you have 3 very specific learning objectives for today. After completing this course, you will be able to, 1, take specific steps to keep your firm's services from being commoditized and marginalized. 2, take specific steps to boost client loyalty and make your firm more profitable. And finally, you'll also be able to take specific steps to ethically incentivize your current clients to refer new clients to you and to your firm. So let's start off talking about how to save your firm from extinction. For those of you who are watching this presentation, for those of you who've owned your CPA firm for at least 5 or 10 years, I'd love to ask you this question. Does your firm today look different than it did 10 years ago? Is there any doubt in your mind that your firm 10 years in the future will look drastically different than it does today? You see, with some of the rather significant changes that are coming down the pike, all firms are going to have to shift and maneuver, because every firm that exists today is going to look drastically different 10 years from now. As a CPA firm owner, you're going to have to either embrace those changes or, quite frankly, simply be left behind. Now, a lot of this I base not only on my personal experience in the marketplace, but also on keeping an eye on industry trends that have been developing. I'm also basing a lot of this on a study that was conducted by Intuit right around the year 2010 on what they called or what they saw the CPA firm of 2020 would look like. And so as a resource, I would encourage you to look up the Intuit 2020 report. In that report, they cite 20 major shifts or changes that were going to redefine business in the year 2020. Now, once you're done with that report, I'd also suggest reading their 2020 report for the accounting profession, where they go over more industry-specific changes for our profession and for our industry. Really, it's fascinating information. And quite honestly, it's information that I don't think you can afford to ignore. Now we want to talk about how major shifts or changes within the business environment that we operate in is creating new opportunities or challenges within our industry. The first major shift that I see, which really has been taking place over the past decade or so, is a shift from CPAs working in a purely an accounting firm to one of what we call a one-stop advisory services firm. This is what I refer to as the 21st century CPA firm, also known as the thriving advisor. A major reason for the shift is consumer demand. I traveled the country for about 6 or 7 years presenting comprehensive business, tax, and financial plans to business owners. At these presentation meetings, the business owner would have what I'd call their team of professional advisors there. They'd have their insurance advisor, they'd have their financial advisor, they'd have their attorney, and even their CPA. Here's what I thought was interesting. Inevitably, when it came to actually implementing any of the recommendations that my team and I had put together, the business owner would always go to his CPA and say, "Hey, Bob, what do you think about all this?" And here's what I know to be true. Clients have long viewed their CPA as their trusted advisor, and survey after survey, report after report, as well as my real life experiences corroborate this information. So not only have clients been predisposed to receiving business, tax, financial planning, and related advisory services from their CPAs, but tons, and I mean tons of CPAs see the value in offering those services, which has created what I call the one-stop advisory services firm, or the 21st century CPA firm, also known as the thriving advisor. Take a look at the big four firms, or perhaps even take a look at larger local CPA firms in your market. When you do, what you'll find is that many of them now have divisions within their firm that offer various advisory services to include wealth management, financial planning, business planning, succession planning, fractional CFO, and risk management services are but a few of these ancillary services that were previously not offered by the CPA firms, but instead were offered by independent third parties. If you think about this, it wasn't too long ago that American Express financial advisors saw the value in offering business and tax advisory services to their financial planning clients, that they decided to form American Express Tax and Business Advisory Services. Today, that firm is now owned by RSM McGladrey. Prior to 1999, the Glass-Steagall Act separated banking from insurance and securities/advisory services. Now, since 1999, the Financial Services Modernization Act repealed that separation of those three distinct and separate industries. As a result of that, what we now see is that banks are currently offering banking, securities, and insurance services with one brand and under one roof, so to speak, even though it may be run through a separate entity. The question really is, how much longer before the banks start offering accounting and tax-related services? Well, they already are, as several banks have trust departments that offer everything from accounting to tax preparation services for trusts. How much longer before they start offering similar services to businesses and individuals? See, today you can walk into your local bank and have them handle your payroll services for you and your company. And so I don't know about you, but I think the writing is on the wall as it relates to the commoditization of much of what CPAs once considered to be their bread and butter service offerings. The interesting thing is the Intuit 2020 report cites that by 2020, banks and other financial services companies will offer an increasing array of accounting and tax-related products and services. What's that going to do to your ability to compete as a traditional CPA firm? That will undoubtedly present some challenges as we see the marketplace give clients more and more reason to see what the CPA does as a commodity with little value. And so, as the CPA firm, what you have to do is you absolutely have to change the perception in order for you to be able to thrive in the 21st century. Another major shift we see is the increasing popularity of the use of financial outsourcing. India, the Philippines, and South America have become boons for outsourcing. Has anyone who's watching or listening to this presentation ever outsourced any of their accounting and tax services to a firm in Bombay, India, as an example? Now, if you've never done that before, I'm sure you've certainly hired seasonal workers to help out at tax season. It's pretty much the same concept here. The demand for this is being fueled by the efficiencies that this process creates with not only labor at bargain basement rates, but also the time differences playing a major advantage in the way routine and mundane work is being processed. You see, you can outsource a lot of rudimentary accounting and tax work to a firm in Bombay, India. And because of the time differences, you can assign that work to them at 7 p.m. your time, go to sleep, wake up the next morning at 7 a.m., and boom, you've got your bookkeeping done for the month for a particular client, your reconciliation done, your AR aging report complete, banking, bank reconciliations, whatever tasks you need done can be done overnight. And it builds incredible efficiency for your firm. You see, the Indian government is already targeting accounting outsourcing as a growth industry for them. And when you think about it, the average accountant in India earns somewhere around $5,900 a year, which is less than 1/6 of what the average accountant in the US would earn. And so you can see why this is appealing and why growth in this industry is all but inevitable. Another major shift that's been noted is the impact technological improvements will have on the delivery of some of the traditional services CPA firms provide. It's been predicted that consulting and business advisory firms will take advantage of technology to provide new accounting related services. So not only will the banks be competing in the CPA space, but you also now have consulting, business advisory, and financial advisory firms competing in that same space as well. Then there's also the growing use of artificial intelligence. Again, you have to ask yourself, how is this going to impact the traditional CPA firm? Other shifts include the impact that globalization is having. It seems almost cliche to say that our world is getting smaller and smaller. At a very rudimentary level, you can look at the impact technologies like social media, Zoom, and Skype are having on making our world seem like it's so much smaller than it used to be. One of the impacts of globalization is it will require you, the CPA, to master new skills. More and more financial statements will have to be compliant for both generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, as well as international financial reporting standards, IFRS. The impact of globalization will not be relegated to just the bigger CPA firms. Even small CPA firms will be affected as their clients expand their customer base internationally. Another shift will be a move to a more contingent workforce, made up more of freelancers, contractors, remote workers, and part-time employees versus the traditional full-time employee. If nothing, the pandemic of 2020 and 2021 will only accelerate this movement. Helping spur some of these shifts in the unprecedented growth in small businesses. While there are 2.5 million new businesses in 2010, there was a 74% increase in the number of new businesses in 2020, with 4.35 million new ones being added in that year alone. Now, according to a report by Oberlo.com, the number of small businesses in the US reached 31.7 million in the year 2020. 17 million new businesses were added from 2016 to 2020. And over the next decade, the total number of small businesses in the US alone is projected to increase exponentially. Many of these new businesses will have a far greater global reach than their predecessors, and they'll be looking to the CPA for more than just their traditional compliance related services. They're going to be looking for a more robust and comprehensive suite of services beyond just compliance work. Another major shift we see over the next decade is the demographical shift. Baby boomers, those who were born between 1946 and 1964, started turning 65 in the year 2011. By 2020, it was estimated that 1 in every 6 American will be over the age of 65. Data now shows that these baby boomers will not be your traditional seniors, as many of them will have, quote unquote, fired retirement, and they will be unretired. Many of them are not going to opt for retirement in the traditional sense. As a matter of fact, the word on the street is a lot of them are going to be looking to refire. And in refiring, what you're going to find is that many of these baby boomers and seniors will in fact have very active lifestyles. Many of these same seniors will actually continue to work either on a part-time basis or on a full-time basis, and many more of them will actually start new businesses. So here's the obvious question. The obvious question is this: how will these changes affect today's small CPA firm? By the way, just so that we are all on the same page, when we say small CPA firm, we're referring to firms with under $3 million in revenues. Some of the changes, I believe, are as follows. A lot of your bread and butter services like bookkeeping, write-up work, payroll, and income tax preparation, a lot of that work will become less profitable. And it will even disappear due to competition, automation from technology, and outsourcing. Factors like growing business complexities, increased knowledge requirements, more regulatory changes, and higher client expectations will cause a greater demand for specialists in your fields versus just generalists. So the question CPAs will have to answer is this: what are you going to specialize in? What are you going to be known as? See, I believe specialization will lead to an increase in collaborations and alliances that are being forged amongst CPAs and other business advisors, coaches, consultants, and financial professionals. CPAs will take on more of a consultant and advisory role and be less involved in computation and tax preparation or any other mundane or routine services. The aging baby boomers will increasingly look for guidance in the areas of business startup, business growth, financial, retirement, and estate planning, as well as in the areas of health and elder care services. Now, here's the beauty of some of the demographical changes that I just mentioned. Who do you think the baby boomers will turn to for advice in these areas? That's right. They're going to turn to you, their trusted advisor. You see, as they start and run full and part-time businesses, they'll turn to the 21st century CPA, the thriving advisor, professionals like yourselves, but only if you are well positioned and able to address their more complex and diverse needs. Needs that go way beyond bookkeeping, accounting, and tax preparation, but instead are more on the advisory spectrum of services. Simply put, a failure to embrace all of these changes will lead to the sudden and unfortunate death of your firm. So, we've talked about the things that you need to do to save your firm from extinction. Now let's turn our attention to what clients really want. Now, if one of your firm's goals is to make sure your service delivery accounts for what clients really want from you, then I guess it'd be good to have an idea about what clients are really, really wanting from the CPA that they work with. So what do they want? Well, they want to work with someone who is knowledgeable and proficient, kind of goes without saying. Someone who's trustworthy, someone who goes beyond just reporting numbers and actually transitions to telling them the story that their financial statements want them to know about how much more revenues and profits that they can add to their business so they don't miss the growth opportunities that are lying right there before them. They want to work with someone who's going to alleviate their fears of dealing with the IRS, someone who will file their tax returns on a timely basis and keep them out of trouble, someone who's a good communicator, someone who's going to save them a ton of money in taxes. Doesn't matter if you're an employee, self-employed, or a business owner. Each one of these groups have taxes as their greatest line item expense. So to the extent that you can help them reduce that line item expense is to the extent you're going to endear yourself to them as a professional. In one word, what these clients are really looking for is a trusted advisor. They want to work with a 21st century CPA firm. They want to be working with the thriving advisor. So now that you know what your clients want, how do you give them what they want? Well, it's really pretty simple, especially if you just focus on what I call the trusted advisor trifecta of services. When you do that, it'll become really, really easy for the rest to naturally occur. So here are the three things to focus on. One, focus on helping them increase their revenues. Two, focus on helping them increase their profits. And three, focus on helping them save money in taxes. That's it. That's the trifecta of services to focus on. But here's the thing. This can only happen if you're proactive and not reactive. And when that happens, you step into the role of the 21st century CPA. You serve as the thriving advisor, and in their eyes, you own what it means to be their trusted advisor. Now, I know that word gets thrown around a lot, so let me define what I mean by a trusted advisor. This is one who, as a result of deeply forged relationships with their clients, understands and helps their clients overcome their fears so that they can achieve their goals in life and in business. So how do you become a trusted advisor? Well, I've put together what I consider to be the traits of a trusted advisor, and here they are. It's someone who recognizes their role as being more than just a number cruncher, which unfortunately is what most people think of when they hear you're a CPA. They go, oh, that must mean you just like numbers. Maybe. A trusted advisor is also someone who takes a personal interest in the client as an individual. Now, why is this important? Well, for starters, most CPAs don't realize the three businesses that you're really in. You see, you are first in the marketing and sales business. You are then in the belief changing business. And lastly, you are in the relationship management business. Now, the degree to which you're able to attract and convert the right clients, change their beliefs about you being a cost center so that they can see you as a profit center and then manage your relationship with them, that's the degree to which you'll be successful as a 21st century CPA. When it comes to the relationship management business, it's important because any successful business is an individual who started, bought, or perhaps inherited that business, right? This is the person who's at the helm of that business. Now, before you'll be able to give him or her any worthwhile advice, you're really going to want to have to put yourself in a position where you clearly understand the individual that you're dealing with, what makes him or her tick, what drives them. So we're talking about being able to really hone in on your people skills, which is another skill set that most CPAs can actually get better at. Another trait of a trusted advisor is someone who underpromises and overdelivers. This is a key to long-term client loyalty, exceeding client expectations. And once you get good at that, then you can create even more differentiation for your practice and create an even bigger blue ocean where you can swim by yourself as you lock up the category of being known as the CPA who overpromises and actually over-delivers. If you think about that, there's hardly anyone that you know who's built a value proposition, a unique selling proposition, who's created a niche for themselves as being known as somebody who overpromises yet over delivers. When you do that, you can literally dominate your niche as one who's doing something very unique in the marketplace that few, if any at all, are actually doing, overpromising and over delivering. Another trait to be aware of is one who is viewed as really a profit center versus a cost center to their clients. You see, if the client views you as just an expense in their P&L, then you're pretty much toast, right? When times get tough or the client is looking to cut back on expenses, all you are to them then is simply a line item expense that they can, quite frankly, cut back on. Another critical trait of a trusted advisor is one who is the client's first point of contact for both business and financial concerns. If you remember, one of the things that I said about the clients who I was working with when I traveled the country for about 6 or 7 years is those clients on those consulting engagements, when I would come back and meet with the team, the first thing they'd do is they'd look to their CPA and they'd go, "Hey, Bob, what do you think about this?" And they'd do that before making a final decision. Another trait is one who provides solutions to clients' needs, or one who has ready access to resources to deliver those solutions. You see, you don't have to be a know-it-all, but you do need to surround yourself with a team of people who do, in fact, know it all as it relates to your client's needs. Lastly, and certainly not least, you should be one that's considered to deliver measurable value to your client's business and life. See, it's not sufficient to just impact the client's business. Ideally, you want to make a tangible impact to their life. And if you do some of the things that we've talked about here thus far today, then like other CPAs we work with, you too will be able to articulate, illustrate, and demonstrate the value that you add to your clients. And it's then that both you and them will know just how much of a tangible impact that you are having to their business as well as to their life. So, we've talked about how you can save your CPA firm from being extinct, as well as how to give clients what they want. Now we want to turn our attention to what you can do to boost client loyalty. But before that, I thought it might be good for you to understand why clients leave your firm in the first place. So here's what the research actually shows. When clients leave the firm of a CPA practice, it's usually because 1% of them die. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. 3% of them might move to another state, maybe even another country. 5% of them seek alternatives, like doing it themselves, the DIYers. 9% of them go to your competition. 14% of them are deeply unsatisfied with your product, your service, your offering. And 68% of them are upset with the treatment that they've received with the product, service, or offering that you have made available to them. And so they leave because of a perceived indifference or poor customer service. Now, in summary, when I look at these stats, what it tells me is that when clients leave your CPA firm, 91% of the time, it's because they feel like they aren't getting value from you in terms of how you are servicing their needs, their desires, and their wants, which means you're basically not giving clients what they want and what they desire from their relationship with you as their trusted advisor. So, with that as a backdrop, the question is, how then do you boost client loyalty? I think it's really pretty simple. You give clients what they want. And the way that you go about doing that is by focusing on being a trusted advisor. See, to really nail it on the head as a trusted advisor, you want to give them what we've labeled as the trifecta of advisory services that we discussed earlier on. To do so, you want to build your practice on the foundation of delivering services that help your clients generate more revenues, more profits, and pay less in taxes. It's really that simple. And quite frankly, it's the guaranteed approach to not only crushing it as a 21st century CPA, but also avoiding extinction in the marketplace. Now let's talk about how to make your firm more profitable. But before that, I think it would be worthwhile to share a bit of this research with you from Harvard Business Review. Research shows that the average business loses 50% of their clients every 5 years. That means the average CPA firm is turning over half of their entire clients every 5 years. Research also shows that new client acquisition can cost as much as this, get this, 5 times more than simply satisfying and retaining your current clients. Most businesses that I know spend way too much of their resources on new client acquisition when it should be spent on satisfying and retaining your current clients. The research from the Harvard Business Review also notes that a 2% increase in customer retention is the equivalent of decreasing your costs by 10%. Now think about that. That's a 5-to-1 ratio or a 500% upside potential. Last thing to note is that depending on the industry, a 5% reduction in customer defection can increase profitability by anywhere from 25 to as much as 125%. Pretty staggering data. Now that we have the research from Harvard Business Review, let's address the question at hand. To make your firm more profitable and to have more clients refer business to you, here are 4 things that you absolutely should do. 1, increase client retention by being a trusted advisor and provide the trifecta of advisory services that we just mentioned earlier on. 2, forge strategic alliances with other business advisors and coaches to aid you in being a trusted advisor to your clients. 3, minimize traditional new client acquisition tactics and implement a formal client referral plan based on your service delivery as a trusted advisor. And 4, deliver more value through the trifecta of advisory services mentioned earlier, and you can double your revenues and triple your profits this year without spending a penny on marketing or advertising to add new clients to your practice. Now, I want to talk about how CPAs can not only avoid market extinction themselves, but also how they can help their clients avoid market extinction. and what we do in that regards to help you with that. The first word I want to introduce you to is what's called Kaizen. Don't know if you've heard about this before, but it's a Japanese term, and it's an overall business philosophy regarding the processes that one engages in to continually improve overall operations and to make things all the more better. Now, I want to provide you with a brief overview of a revolutionary business assessment tool and software that's been specifically developed to seek out and identify massive financial breakthroughs within multiple areas of your business and your client's business to help generate Kaizen improvements for yourself and for your business. Before we get started, it's important to maybe explain why this software and this tool was actually created in the first place. We work with a lot of businesses, and we work with business owners globally. And it seems like regardless of what state, what city, what country the business is in, they all seem to have a very similar goal in mind. Many want to build their businesses quickly and hit the magical $1 million revenue mark in short order. It's a very formidable goal. Listen, we get it. We've had the same goal as well. Been there and done that multiple times myself. But here's what we found. As we've worked with more and more business owners, here's what we've noticed. We found that there were a lot of them that were indeed making that $1 million in revenues, but they were losing $80,000 in their bottom line. Some of them were making $1 million in their top line revenues, but they were only generating a profit of about $60,000. Now, $1 million in revenues sounds impressive, especially when you consider the fact that less than 4% of all businesses ever reach that coveted level. But think about this for a second. Wouldn't it make more sense for you to set a goal of hitting $500,000 in revenue if with that you could experience $250,000 in profits? So what's the secret sauce for running a profitable business? Believe it or not, it's as simple as embracing a concept that we refer to as exponential growth, which is another key word for Kaizen improvements within a business. Exponential growth is where you make small incremental changes in multiple areas of your business to achieve this Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. It's been said the easiest way to realize 100% increase in anything is to pick 100 things and improve them just 1%. And you'll see 100% improvement in the overall business. Another quick question. Are you familiar with what's called the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle? For business owners like yourselves and the clients that you serve, what it means is that 20% of what you do each and every day is responsible for and is generating 80% of your total annual revenues. In other words, there are only a few things that you're doing on a daily basis that are making you the most money in business. So the obvious question is, what are those things? Here's what we found. We found that there are 5 areas in your business that make up that 20%. And those 5 areas are found within the realms of leads, conversions, transactions, pricing, and profits. As a matter of fact, if we have an opportunity to ever meet in person or virtually, what we'll be able to do for you is unearth $100,000 or more in additional revenues and profits, and we'll be able to do that for you in under an hour. Now, we're going to do that over the course of this presentation by focusing on just these 5 areas. In actuality, there's about 40 total areas that we could explore in your business or in the business of your clients. So imagine what could occur in accelerating revenue and profits to your business or those of your clients if, in fact, all 40 areas were being assessed. But for now, we're going to explore what's possible and why these 5 areas are so critical. So I want you to have a look at the chart on the screen. It's going to show you how small incremental changes can generate dramatic gains for your revenue and your profits and for those of your clients. It's a tool we refer to as the Profit Growth Calculator. And so let's plug some realistic numbers for a typical or an average small business to just illustrate this point. So let's say your business generated 1,000 leads in the past year, and that the average conversion rate was 25%. That would mean that 25% of the 1,000 leads converted to paying customers. And so you ended up with 250 customers over the course of the past year. Now let's also say that your customers bought what you sell, bookkeeping services as an example, 10 times throughout the year, and that they typically paid on average around $100 per purchase. What that means is that your firm generated about $250,000 in total revenues. Now, finally, let's say that your profit margin per sale is 25%. What that tells us is on $250,000 in revenues generated, your firm created profit of about $62,500 for the year. So this is our baseline. This is our starting point. I want you to pay attention to what happens if all you're able to do is simply increase each one of these 5 areas by a meager 10%. What that means is rather than seeing 1,000 leads over the course of the year, you'd see 1,100 leads. Rather than converting just 25% of those leads, you'd convert 27.5% of those leads. Rather than that resulting in just 10 customers, it would result in 11 customers. It would result in, rather than it resulting 250 customers, it result in 302 customers. And rather than them engaging in 10 transactions throughout the course of the year, it actually engaged in 11 transactions. And rather than at a price of $100 each, it would be 110. And rather than a profit percentage or profit margin at 25%, it would be 27.5%. Those are the small incremental gains in each one of those 5 areas. What's important to note now is that you'd see your annual revenues go from about $250,000 to 365, and more importantly, you'd see your profit almost double from 62,500 to over 6 figures. Now think about that for a second. Most business owners would kill to almost double their profits. I think you'd agree. But pay attention to what happens if you could increase each of those 5 areas not by 10%, but instead by 50%. So rather than 1,000 leads, you now see 1,500. Rather than 25% conversions, you now experience 37.5% conversions. Rather than 250 customers, it's 562. Rather than them engaging in just 10 transactions, it's 15 transactions over the year. Rather than $100 as an average price, it's 150. Rather than 25% profits, it's 37.5. Lots of numbers to go over. But here are the key ones that I want you to hone in on. Your business would skyrocket from generating a profit of $62,500 to almost $500,000 in revenue. Your revenues would go from $250,000 to 1.25 plus. Now, I know what you're thinking. You may be thinking that 50% gains in each one of these 5 areas would be next to impossible. And I can appreciate that. But let me assure you that a 50% increase is absolutely child's play. And with the software tools and resources that we provide to you as a CPA, and that we help re-engineer growth in revenues and profits for your business owner clients, It's so easy to do this that almost a 5-year-old could do it blindfolded. So consider this example. Let's say your current conversion rate is 20%, and that by creating a compelling offer for your service offerings, you're able to increase your conversions from 20% to 30%. Here's what you want to pay attention to. Do you realize that it's not a 10% increase from 20 to 30, that it's actually a 50% increase to go from 20% conversions to 30% conversions? You see, a 10% increase in conversions would mean you'd go from 20% to 22%. Now, as obvious as this may be, and as common as this may look, very few business owners actually realize this very simple fact. That's why we state quite emphatically and unequivocally that a 50% increase in each of these 5 areas is really child's play. So, I can assure you that being able to generate a 50% increase for you or for your clients in each one of those 5 areas is rather easy to do, but how about I go ahead and simply just prove it to you right now? Here's a typical profit and loss statement for a business owner making just $300,000 in annual revenues. One thing to be very aware of on this P&L statement is this, that there are only 3 numbers on the P&L that can be impacted. Those 3 numbers are revenues, COGS or cost of goods sold, which is simply the costs that are involved in producing and delivering the products, goods, or services that you offer. And then the last number is overhead, which represents your common expenses, rent, mortgage, insurance, utilities, and so on. The remaining numbers that are on this P&L are derived from the other 3. Now I want you to look at how quickly and easily profit acceleration occurs if we impact these 3 areas by a meager 5%. So what that means is if we are able to impact revenues and cost of goods sold and overhead by 5%, what is the impact? Well, here's what happens. Our revenues go from 300,000 to 315,000 for the year. Our cost of goods sold go down from 180,000 to 171,000 for the year. And our overhead goes down from 60,000 to 57,000 for the year. Okay? Doesn't seem like very significant changes across the board, right? Until we actually cross-examine what's taken place. And when we do, here's what we find. That the increase in our overall net profit is an additional $27,000, which is a whopping 45% increase over prior net profits of $60,000. Again, we're right knocking on the door of a 50% increase. As a matter of fact, if we wanted to reach 50%, as I mentioned earlier, we'd only need to create an impact in each of these 3 areas of 5.5%. Not 5, but 5.5. Do you realize how easy it is to impact these 3 areas by that meager amount of 5.5%? That's why we say that accelerating profits and revenues within a business is absolutely the key to bigger profits for your business. By impacting your revenues, your cost of goods sold, and your overhead by just 5%, you often see dramatic increases in revenues and profits. So, how do you increase your revenues by 5% to get these significant increases across the board? How do you increase your cost of goods sold? Reduce that by 5%. Reduce your overhead by 5%. There's a ton of ways that we can go about doing that. As a matter of fact, the example that we'll go over here shortly, it explains how our software and the resources and tools that we make available to the CPAs that we partner with to help their business as well as the business of the small business owner clients that they serve. We're going to illustrate how the software tool can help any business owner find $100,000 in hidden revenues and profits in their business in under an hour. And it can do so without them having to spend an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. We've been working with and training CPAs and business owners and entrepreneurs around the world for more than 3 decades now. And when we ask them what their top challenges are, we get the exact same answers every time. We're told in some variation of the other that I need more leads, I need more customers, and I need better systems and definitely more revenue and more profit. And so we decided that we needed to create a solution to this dilemma that would benefit business owners like yourself and the clients that you serve. And so this proprietary business assessment software, tool, and resource was created that really provides an opportunity where in a matter of minutes can help you uncover major financial breakthroughs for any business in as little as 12 to as many as 40 proven and critical areas within their business. And so think about this for a second. How would you like to know with near perfect precision and accuracy the areas of your business as a CPA or the business of the clients that you serve where you could generate the most money in the shortest amount of time and for little to no additional cost? Business owners are under the mistaken belief that the only way that they can make more money is to generate more leads and customers. Now, that's a surefire formula that will lead to failure, in our opinion. Yes, you definitely want to generate more leads and customers, but that's a long, slow process these days due to market saturation. There are much faster and more consistent ways for you to quickly generate more money, and we're talking a lot more money. For example, are you aware of the fact that you can actually monetize your profit and loss statement and put $5,000 to $15,000 in additional profit in your pocket every year moving forward? And even if you don't have a P&L, which as a CPA you do, but some of your clients may not, just depending on the trajectory of their business growth, no big problem, because you can recreate one from scratch in just about 3 minutes and show you or show them how to monetize it. It's a known fact that if you're in the United States, that there's a legal loophole in the tax code that could instantly place an additional $15,000 in the pocket of most small business owners, and almost no one is aware of it. And so suppose I told you that in under an hour, we could perform an assessment in 12 vital areas in your business or in those of the clients that you serve. And in that time, identify the revenue and profit opportunities that are available in each of those 12 areas and instantly run your business through our proprietary software, 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that would calculate the actual dollar increases that you would realize. And then those same 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences would then create a detailed roadmap that shows you exactly what to do and when to do it to achieve those results, and then hand you a customized report that then positions your business as the leader in your market. If that were possible, I believe that as a business owner, you would be in a position where you would never again say to yourself, I'm clueless as to what to do as it relates to growing my business. You see, our revolutionary software, tools, and resources, what it does is it has the right information in the right order, so you never again have to play guessing games trying to figure out the exact steps that are needed to increase your leads, your sales, your revenues, and your profits. That's why we can boldly state that our proprietary software assessment tool, the resources, and the training we make available to CPAs and business owners that we work with can help find any business owner in any vertical, in any industry, in any niche, more than 100,000 in additional revenues and profits in under an hour without them ever having to spend any additional money on marketing or advertising. You see, our software tool starts the process by establishing some baseline key figures, stats, KPIs for your business. Things like what your current revenue is today. Then it begins asking specific questions that detail varying strategies and opportunities that will uncover amazing financial breakthroughs that you're currently overlooking. You see, not knowing the right questions to ask is the reason why most business owners can't determine the best way forward to build a profitable business. And that's one of many reasons why the coaching and consulting industry continues to exponentially grow each and every year. There's increasing demand for these kinds of advisory services and solutions. And if you don't know exactly what questions to ask, then you'll never be in a position where you can uncover the most pressing problems that are costing you the most profit. The right questions in the right order is really the key to finding dramatic financial breakthroughs for your business and for the business of the clients that you serve. And the software, the tools, and the training that we provide provides a pathway for you to do that each and every time without fail. The questions that are asked allow you to segment. The questions that are asked are segmented based on the specific problem areas that you or the business owner is experiencing. There are about 12 areas that we start off with as a baseline, but we can explore as many as 40. And in those areas, we have proven data. We have history corroborated here of being able to generate dramatic financial gains for, again, any business in any vertical, in any industry, or in any niche. After our software assesses each of these areas within your business, you'll instantly discover tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenues and profits that you're unknowingly leaving on the table. The tool, the resources we bring to bear here will help you identify potential breakthroughs that exist within your business and within the business of the clients that you serve. During our assessment, now what we want to do is use ultra-conservative numbers. We're typically looking for breakthroughs in each area that we uncover of anywhere between 3 to maybe as much as 10%. We start out with the whole idea of under-promising and over-delivering. And so we want to keep our projections believable and easily achievable. It's always better to under-promise and over-deliver. But then once we forged a relationship, we can slowly transition because you've got confidence and history on your side now to start over-promising and then over-delivering, creating that blue ocean niche for you in an industry where very few, if anybody, is building an entire business philosophy and brand around the idea of over-promising and over-delivering. Here's excerpts of what you see from the software tool, right? Once it completes some of the initial iterations, we click a button and we get a summary that automatically populates, showing you the impact that's taking place in various key areas of your business. It displays dramatic revenue and profit increases in each one of the areas that have been uncovered for you and your business, both in terms of revenue impact, impact in percentage terms, impact seen visually through graphs, as well as the impact to the value of your business. Because again, we're always keeping an exit at some point in mind. And so planning for that starts now, not necessarily the year before you exit. But that's just for starters. One of the tools that are available here is the ability to prioritize the set of objectives, recommendations, and opportunities that are before you. And so literally with the click of a button, we can assign a time to implement each one of the breakthroughs that have been uncovered. That information is then saved, and you simply prioritize or sort the information. And here's the beauty of what you now see. You now have on the implementation tab, once you've clicked that button, you now have an entire implementation calendar for the year. So you know exactly which strategies need to be executed in which order to generate maximum results. But here's where the rubber sort of meets the road, so to speak. How can you, the CPA, use this information to actually get dramatic and life-changing financial breakthroughs? What specific steps should you take to ensure maximum financial increases in both your revenue as well as your profits? You see, when we're using our tool, all we have to do is click any one of the strategies that have been recommended that we've just uncovered, and what you find is an exact step-by-step layout of exactly what to do, when to do, what areas to cover, what things need to be taken into consideration, what additional research might need to occur in order to be able to put a check mark that this particular strategy or recommendation has in fact been fully implemented within the business to generate the promised results and benefits that are being sought after from that particular strategy. And so if failure is ever a concern, I made the statement early on, we have simplified the process of business coaching and consulting to the point where you could literally take a 5-year-old and train them with the resources, tools that we make available, and they could coach and consult with your business owner clients. And so our software and the tools and the resources that we provide, quite frankly, completely eliminates the threat of you ever failing or feeling ill-equipped or not properly positioned, trained, or confident enough to be able to help your business owner clients, help yourself first of all, but also help your business owner clients be able to achieve the measures of increases in revenues and profits that they desire for their business. And again, position you as someone who's delivering the trifecta of advisory services that we've talked about, helping your clients generate more revenues, generate more profits, and then ultimately, with your knowledge as a CPA, helping them minimize their tax liabilities. But we're still not done impressing you. What if we can now hand you, after this process, a completely and professionally designed and illustrated roadmap that highlights the breakthroughs, the financial breakthroughs, both in numerical and graphical representation, so you know exactly where this journey is taking you and your company or that of the clients that you are serving. With those results in hand, you'll also have a detailed report that can now completely transform your business, as well as those of the clients that you may be serving utilizing this tool, the resources, and the trainings that we provide. We include all of these breakthroughs for you and show you what the best path forward is to doubling revenues, tripling your profits, achieving whatever financial milestone you may have for yourself and for your business over the next 12 months. And here's why this process works really, really well for you. Business owners, we know, are absolutely infatuated with results. They want results. They don't want promises. They don't want hype. They don't want promotion. They want results. I tell people all of the time that we have transitioned from an information-based society to a results-based society. And he who can help deliver the most results for their clients is he who will sit at the top of the mountain as it relates to their industry in terms of creating not only a category of one in that niche, but also in attracting the most clients to their business. And so with the tools, the resources, and training that we provide, you will have a great degree of certainty as well as the roadmap to building a successful and financially lucrative business, not only for yourself, but also for the clients that you serve in your practice as a CPA. The truth be told, we have more than 60 of these world-class revenue generating strategies that are available to us to select from to try to create the kind of impact that you and the clients you serve may be seeking. These are just a handful of some of those strategies that are available to select from to deliver some significant financial breakthroughs. And the truth is, just one of these 60 strategies could easily increase revenues by 100 to 500%. Not 5%, but by 100 to as much as 500%. And if we have an opportunity to spend some quality time together, virtually or in person, you'll be able to see this for yourself when we meet. And if there's a mutual fit, then our promise to you is really pretty simple. Give us 2 years and we will show you how to add up to $1 million in new revenues, as well as take 12 weeks off each year by adding advisory services and making Kaizen improvements and adding more value to new and existing clients in your practice. And you don't have to take our word for it. You can hear what others have said who've gotten a chance to experience some of the tools, resources, and services that we make available to the CPAs that we've worked with. Don Borgat, as an example, shared how he had gotten a 600% increase in his revenues from the work that we did. Think about that. If you're doing 50,000 in revenue as a startup CPA, you're talking about going from 50,000 to 300,000. If you're doing 100,000 in revenues, you're talking about going from 100 to 600,000 in revenues. Pretty significant increase. Scott Merritt shared how he could easily see how his firm would add another 100 to 300,000 in revenue and profits this year alone from the work that we were doing with him. Andrea Lockhart commented and said that a lot of the tactics that Ike has showed me are solid business strategies that entrepreneurs should be using. And Carl Hollingsworth said, he's already proven to me that I will come out of this engagement better than I could have ever believed possible. These are all recommendations, testimonials you can find from those that I have worked with and that have provided their experience of working with me on my LinkedIn profile as an example. So you can find some of these same comments there. Now, if you'd like for us to assess your business using our revolutionary revenue and profit acceleration tools, as well as detailed specific strategies that can generate massive financial breakthroughs for your business, hand you your very own custom roadmap for success, along with a detailed report that will position your business as the dominant force in your industry, creating a category of one for you, then all you have to do is just click the link below and schedule a day and time for us to speak to experience what we refer to as our 10K challenge, where in that meeting, we will guarantee to unearth at least 10,000 in hidden revenues and profits in your business. And if we don't, then we will gladly make a donation of $100 to kiva.org, which is an organization that helps small business owners in underdeveloped countries gain access to the tools and resources that they need to help their businesses thrive and succeed in these developing nations. To take advantage of this offer, all you have to do is book the 10K challenge at the link below. That link is www.meetme.so/IKEIKOKWU. And there you'll book the 10K challenge meeting to spend time with us. So listen, we appreciate your time and attention. We're looking forward to spending time with you and your business shortly. Again, to do so, We believe it's going to be an amazing experience, and it's a win-win. Either a business in a developing country gets the benefit if we're not able to fulfill our promise with our 10K challenge, or you'll get to experience some of what you've learned over the course of taking this CPE course and learning what you've learned today. So again, to do so, book your 10K challenge meeting at the link below. It's www.meetme.so/IKEIKOKWU, and you want to select the option to book a 10K challenge. So just scroll down until you see the words 10K challenge and select that meeting, and you'll be on your way. So thanks again for watching. We'll look forward to spending time with you. Again, just book your meeting at meetme.so/Ike Book the 10K challenge meeting, and we'll look forward to helping you unearth at least 10,000 in hidden revenues and profits in your business, or donating $100 to kiva.org, a worthwhile organization helping small businesses and small business owners in underdeveloped nations. Thanks again, folks. Take care and God bless.